Hello my fellow hunter, this is my second video today. Maybe you have already seen the ice and the old new thunder meta build for the switch axe. So for the ice switch axe we have Teostra switch axe for the new meta, and for the thunder elemental switch axe we still have the Cinnabar switch axe for the best. And in this video I'm gonna show you a plus switch axe. It's a Teostras castle. But first of all, a huge disclaimer, please don't rebuild the set. This video is only informative. Don't copy the set, and please wait until I've shown you the status blast set. So in this video I'm gonna show you a blast set. Please only watch this video and don't rebuild any things. It's just for you informative, okay? And I'm gonna explain you in the following video why. I also tested this build in some runs. I just want to show you the best possible combination, and other stuff's just informative. Okay, go to Forge Upgrade Weapons, Switch Axe. I show you how to build Teostra's castle. So first of all, if you have not that much free time, or you don't have actually Teostra orbs or other stuff, I don't actually recommend you to craft the Teostra's castle if you haven't actually Teostra camps or other stuff. For the first weapon you need some random Teostra stuff, and for the second weapon you need Wildstruck's Claw, pretty easy to get, and the Teostra gem with an astronomical chance to get. Yes, this weapon has a level 2 slot, which is pretty cool. Unfortunately elemental file is pretty bad. Power File and Rise is better than the Elemental File, because you can use the Shura Todus chest with Power Prolonger 2, and it's very easy for Power File to make them comfortable. Plus is pretty high, plus attack, also the attack with 210, but yes, the bad thing on the Switch Axe is the Elemental File. If the Switch Axe had a Power File, it would be maybe a very good Switch Axe, but with the Elemental File I'm gonna explain you why the Switch Axe is actually not so good. First of all, I'm gonna show you the different combinations I have built. For the first set, I didn't have built in a ramp up skill. So the thing is, if you... Oh, sorry, I forgot the ramp up skills. We'll go to the smithy and ramp up our Teostra's castle, and you have attack boost 3, which gives you additional 8 attack. But yes, you don't get that multiplier from the file. You have an elemental file, so you only get a multiplier if you're using another ramp up skill. And I recommend using Teostra Soul, because it increases the blast damage from 120 to 144. So this is pretty decent, and yes, I think it's by far the best skill you can use, the Teostra Soul. So we go to our calculation sheet, and I tried out attack boost 4 with crit I 2 and crit boost 1, wax 3, rapid more 3, no power prolonger because you have elemental file, and without any blast, you do 87 cycle DPS. Another thing is, I absolutely don't recommend using blast decos, because they're level 2. I'm gonna show you decorations, create decorations, go to the levels 2. Decorations, you can see it's level 2 here, and you only gain a build up by 10%. So that means if you have actually 30 blast attack, you get 3 additional blast and 2 extra, so 35. So we have elemental file, which boosts our blast attack by 45%, and we can also instead eat in the canteen for Felinus Specialist, which also gives us 3 additional blast damage, so it's actually not worth it using any blast decos, because they're level 2. Yes, and I tried 2 different sets. I tried one set with attack boost 6, so more attack boost and even more crit skills, crit boost 2 and crit I 3, but the sharpness was only blue. So you can see with no handicraft we only deal 94 DPS, cycle DPS, and if we sacrifice all our crit skills and attack boost skills for the white sharpness, we need 4 levels of handicraft. That's a lot, but you can still see we do more than 3 DPS. So it's absolutely worth it, sacrificing all the crit and attack skills for the right sharpness. And the next thing I'm gonna do is I explain you how status works. So let's have a look at the switch X. On the switch X, you can see we have 36 blast attack. And we have elemental file. So let's go to Google, search for a calculator. So we type in calculator. So when we type in 36 times 1.45. So you can see it's 52.2 if you're in sword mode. And you know, we're a mixed playstyle, so in the quest maybe we're 50% in the sword mode and 50% in the X mode. So we're gonna took the average. We're gonna add 52 plus our 36 for the X mode. So plus 36 is 88, and now the half is 44. So I have calculated for the status attack 44. So the next thing is the true status attack. So you know a status is RNG if you watched my previous videos, and it only applies 30% of the time. So if you got lucky, maybe you have more blast procs, and if you're unlucky, you got no blast procs or just a horrible amount of blast procs. So we have a true status attacks of 13. The next thing we're gonna do, I've took the values from monsters with blast resistance level 2 or blast weakness level 2. So the first thing, I don't have calculated these values for blast weakness monster with level 3. You can see the most monsters has a blast weakness level 2. The only monster that has blast weakness level 3 is Barov. But whether I think you don't, yes, for Barov water is better than blast. And for the Kushlata Aura, I don't recommend blast. I think it's much better to use stun or use the Tigrex switch X against Kushlata Aura. I only can recommend it. It's really worth it. Okay, and the next thing is we go to Kiraniko, and search for the monsters with a level 2 blast weakness. So we go to the monsters and, for instance, search for the Somnacanth because it has a level 2 blast weakness. So we go at the bottom of the list and you can see, okay, sorry, it was the okay, that's the correct one. You can see a 70 base build up with additional 70 base weakness with build up 30, and the cap is 670. So I'm gonna type this stuff into my status calculator. You can see the base is 70, the build up is 30, and the cap is 670. So that's for monsters with level 2 blast weakness. Unfortunately, my calculator only have 5 levels, and this is a huge amount of build up you have when you're using blast weapons. So I calculated this entire table, and first I'm gonna explain you some things. For the entire rapid morph combo, you need 4.5 seconds if you have rapid morph. So you do 1.1 hits per second, and I'm gonna calculate it for 60 seconds. So in 60 seconds you do about 67 hits. And the next thing is, if you're doing an easy high rank quest, the most hunts, like if you do maybe from my Somnacanth runs, the most hunts, also speed runs or other stuff, has a duration of 3 minutes. So in the 3 minutes you do average 200 hits. You can also do ZSD. I highly recommend ZSD when using blast because you're doing more hits. The only thing that you have to calculate for blast is the amount of hits. Yes, and for level 2 blast weakness, we have base 70 with additional 30 build up, so the cap is 670. So you can see this table here, and I have also calculated the different procs. And here is the amount of build up we have actually after the procs we get. Here is the amount of hits you need for the certain proc, and at the top right, here at the right side, you can see all the hits you have done actually until this point. And I have calculated here that for 3 minutes you need about 200 hits. And I've calculated this. You can see we have 214 hits. We have a build-up of 400. And yes, in that 3 minutes, we do 12 blast procs average. And okay, I took that 12 blast procs and divided it into 3, because for 3 minutes, and my DPS calculation is for 1 minute, and so I divided it into 3, and you can see it's 4, and we got the Teostra soul. We do 144 blast procs instead of 120. So you can see here, per minute, we are doing 4 times 144 blast procs. And that gives us additional 9.6 DPS. So in the best possible build, in the best case, we do 97.25 DPS. And that's extremely bad, extremely. You can see it in the run. Yes, I do several runs against Somnakanth, but yes, everyone was horrible. The easiest run I got with the Sinogre switch X. And yes, I still can recommend actually playing more Elemental than Blast, but I'm gonna show it you now. You can see it. I'm gonna choose the element and enable all elements. You can see it here, enable all elements, and now filter by DPS. So you can see here, for instance, at a Netifly DPS, for example, the Despot's Cloudburst can do 122 DPS against the Somnakanth, or the Daora's Diana can do 118 DPS. But you can see here, Teostra's Castle is actually one of the worst DPS weapons. Even if you have White Sharpness, only 97 DPS. So you can see still the Rajang Switch X, the Abyssal Storm X, also the Rampage Elemental Switch X is a lot better. They are doing about 18 or 19 more DPS, which is insane, so they are 20% stronger. And yes, so you can see it's absolutely not worth it to craft the Switch X, but I either showing you the build, if you're interested. So this video is only educational, don't copy this build. You can see here the optimal constellation on the Teostra's Castle, the critical jewel tool, on the Almudron Helm as 2 sharp jewels level 2, on the White Mail as the handicraft jewel 3, a sharp jewel 2 and the grinder jewel 1, on the Sinister Gauntlets as a tenderizer jewel level 2, on the Engine F coil as a tenderizer jewel 2 and 2 grinder jewels level 1, on the Ingot Greaves as a dive jewel 1, you can choose whatever you want, but I like dive jewel. And on the Rapid Morph 2 talisman, or Rapid Morph 1 talisman, because we have already 2 levels of Rapid Morph on the Almudron Helmet F, Handicraft Jewel 3 and the Tenderizer Jewel 2. Okay, so maybe I'm gonna tease actually a little bit. So we're going to wrap up weapons, set Rampage skills, and now go to the Rampage weapon. I hope I can find it. You can see here, it's actually my raw build, it's pretty cool. So Sharpness type 1 is the best one, also known as the Elemental Boost. And yes, for the last one, I can recommend using this. Sorry, let's give me a second. I recommend, because this weapon has no slots, using Affinity Search, non-elemental, Blast 2. You got 15 Blast. And for the Sharpness type, you can use Sharpness type 1 to get easily the Blast attack. So maybe I may make a additional video. You maybe got in the next Blast build, I show you not so much Blast procs, like maybe 12 in 3 minutes or 4 in 1 minute, but I think it does more damage because of the power file. And yes, actually please don't copy this build, it's just educational. I'm gonna also show you this run, and yes, actually this set didn't work very well. If you want, you can rebuild it either and maybe tell me in the comments how the set works. But actually I didn't really enjoy the set because the elemental sets does a lot more damage than the Teostra's Castle set. But I recommend maybe using the Rampage weapon and choose for a layered weapon the Teostra's Castle. So I don't wanna yes. This is my second video today, so maybe I show you the next Blast build tomorrow on another day, so see you next time. I forgot a little thing to mention. If you're playing with a blast weapon, I showed you in the previous video, but please use a ticket and choose this meal: Dango Hurler with Dango Specialist, Dango Booster and Dango Weakener. The Dango Specialist gives you 3 additional status attack, which is pretty cool. So you get from 36 to 39.